Hi, my name is Elsamawal Elkhidir, and I will talk about VoLTE, Voice over LTE. This is the agenda slide. So, first of all, I will talk about the introduction, then the literature review, then the methodology, then the results and conclusion. Slide number 3. In this slide, I will talk about the introduction. Voice correspondence has gotten versatile in a huge manner, and mobile is the favored path for voice correspondence for more than 5 billion subscribers. The introduction of high-speed packet access (HSPA) also allows a large set of data services from smartphones, tablets, and laptops to go mobile. The networks have already turned from voice to data because the data volumes in mobile networks greatly exceed the voice volumes from the traffic point of view. The next generation mobile radio system, called Long-Term Evolution (LTE), started commercially in 2009 and is designed to boost further the data rates and capacities. LTE radio is primarily optimized for high-capacity data, however, can likewise uphold voice proficiently. During 2012, smartphones with the capacity to provide a voice service using the LTE network are becoming available. So here the LTE is the start in 2009, the LTE technology. And the voice in LTE network started in 2012, which is the voice over LTE. Slide number 4, literature review. In this slide, I will talk about the voice over LTE and how it's work and what is the difference between 3G network and LTE network. The voice in the second generation 2G GSM and third generation 3G WCDMA is by the circuit switch connections. So the 3G network is using circuit switch connections. Since LTE is designed only for packet switch connections, so the LTE network is using packet switch connections. The voice service LTE uses the Voice over Internet Protocol, called Voice over LTE, together with the IP Multimedia Subsystem (IMS). So the IMS is very important node in the LTE network, and I will explain all this in slide number 5. Slide number 5. Literature review continued. In this slide, I will explain the difference between 3G network and LTE network, and how the call going in 3G network and how the call going in LTE network. So in the 3G network, first of all, we have the UE. UE, it's mean user equipment, which is mean your phone. So the call is going from your phone to the MSC. MSC is Mobile Services Switching Center. And here we are talking about layer 2. So the signaling between UE and MSC, it's SS7. So 3G network is using SS7 protocol for signaling between the phone and MSC. Then between the MSC and another MSC, the 3G network is using circuit switch technology, or IP. We have two types of IP here, like ISUP and BICC. Then the call is going to the HLR. HLR is home location center. In HLR is checking the MISDIN. MISDIN is mean your number, and the MZ, and checking if you have enough credit to call or no. Then the call is going from the MSC to the phone B or user equipment B by SS7 signaling. So in the 3G network, the 3G network is using circuit switch and is using SS7 signaling, and we have the HLR, the home location center. In LTE network, how the calls going in LTE network. So in LTE network, instead SS7 we have SIP, which is means session initiation protocol. So in LTE network is using SIP. In 3G network is using SS7 for signaling. So in the LTE, the call is going from UE, the user equipment or UPhone, to the IMS. IMS, it's mean IP multimedia subsystem. Then it's going from the IMS to the HSS. HSS is mean home subscriber server. So in the 3G, the call is going to the HLR, but in the LTE, the call is going to the HSS, home subscriber server. In home subscriber server is checking if it's check what is the NISDN number, the phone number, if you have enough credit or no, if you can make the call or no. All this stuff or all this progress, it's happened in HSS. Then the call is going to the PTS. PTS is the base transfer station, which is the tower. Then from the tower to the phone B. And all this by SIP signaling. And also we have IP transport in LTE network. And here we are talking about VoIP, Voice over Internet Protocol. For this reason, in LTE network, you are allowed to call and create BDB session in same time. Create BDB session, that means browsing the internet. So you can call and browsing the internet in the same time in LTE network. So this is the difference between 3G network and LTE network and how VoLTE works. Slide number 6. In this slide, I will talk about voice over LTE methodology. The calls quality on the 3G was poor because 3G network using circuit switch technique, or we can say 3G network using circuit switch technology, as I explained in slide number 5. So we have poor voice quality in the 3G because 3G network using circuit switch technology. To solve this issue, we have VoLTE, Voice over LTE. How VoLTE solved this issue? VoLTE solved this issue because VoLTE is using packet switch instead circuit switch technology. VoLTE has up to 3 times more voice and data capacity than 3G. Also, VoLTE provides superior voice quality and allows you to browse the internet and use data-driven application while on call. So when you be on call, you will be able to browse the internet in same time in VoLTE. Why? Because VoLTE is in LTE network, and in LTE network there is VoIP, which is voice over internet protocol. So you will be able to browse the internet and make a call in the same time. Slide number 7. So in this slide, I will talk about the results. So to know exactly what is the result, we have to ask ourselves why voice over LTE is important. If we can answer this question, we will know exactly what is the result. So in slide number 8 or the next slide, I will explain explain why voice over LTE is important. Slide number 8. In this slide, I will talk about the result. Why voice over LTE is important. So voice over LTE is important for customers and also for operators. Why voice over LTE is important for customers? Because it's good for customers. Simulators LTE data and voice calls no feedback to 2G or 3G, and that's correct because voice it's in LTE network, and in LTE network we can use VoIP, voice over internet protocol. Faster call setup, improved voice quality with high definition voice, and that's correct because LTE network is better than 3G or 2G network. Voice over Internet of Things for many Internet of Things applications. For these reasons, voice over LTE is good for customers. Also, voice over LTE is good for operators. More efficient use of spectrum and simplified operations, no need to take care of 2G, 3G voice. And that's correct. For example, we have in the cabinet WCDMA and FDD and TDD. So FDD is the frequency division duplex and TDD is time division duplex. So, and the WCDMA or the GSM is working for the 2G and FDD is working for 3G. TDD is working for LTE. So if we have drop in the WCDMA or GSM and the FDD is still, you will be allowed to call by using the TDD, the LTE, which is the voice over LTE. Slide number 9. In this slide, I will talk about the conclusion for this presentation. VoLTE calls are voice calls made over the 4G LTE network. They have superior audio quality to regular phone calls made over the standard voice network. VoLTE lets you talk and use 4G LTE data simultaneously. VoLTE is the way our phones and carriers transmit our voices during a call, so there is a good reason to know how to use it and why you should care. Slide number 10. Conclusion continued. VoLTE is most likely available in your area, and if you upgraded your phone in the last few years, you can probably use it. And this is a very important point. You can't use VoLTE in every phone. You should use modern phone for VoLTE technology. Once you have the right phone and carrier, setting VoLTE up on your phone is very easy and well worth it. Thank you for listening to this presentation.